Now that the 2021 NBA regular season is over, I think it's time for another mock draft. In today's video, I simulated the lottery on Tankathon, and yes, I simulated the lottery, and we're going to do a lottery simulated mock draft. Now, the next mock draft on this channel should be after the lottery is done, and we know which teams will be selecting where in the 2021 NBA draft. So let's go ahead and get into this video with the NBA mock draft. Also, we're going to be doing a full first round mock draft here today. So yeah, the first selection, the Detroit Pistons are selecting here. They've been fading for Cade all season. That's kind of their memo that they've been going by this season. They also have 3 second-round picks, 37th pick via Toronto, 41st pick via Charlotte, and 51st pick via Los Angeles. I'm not sure which Los Angeles team. With the first pick, I think it's pretty obvious here. I think most teams will select Cade Cunningham. And why not the Detroit Pistons here? With the second overall pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves, luckily for them, do keep their pick. And with their second selection, I think they have to go with Evan Mobley here. Karl-Anthony Towns' recent comments said that he wanted to stay with one team his whole career. I think Minnesota, though, would be smart here selecting Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley could play the 4 for them, along with actually being a good defender, and we cannot say that about Karl-Anthony Towns. Yes, this next team would probably love to have Evan Mobley, but simply they do not get him. The third selection, the New Orleans Pelicans are on the board. This is very interesting because the 3 best available players in Jalen Suggs, Jalen Green, and Jonathan Kuminga. Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga, neither are great scorers, but I think this selection has to be pretty obvious for the New Orleans Pelicans here. I think they have to take Jalen Suggs, even though he is 5th on my big board right now, where I have let's go and look at this. Give me one sec. I have Cunningham at 1, Green at 2, Mobley at 3, Kuminga at 4, and Jalen Suggs at 5. So Suggs does go a little earlier than what my big board would suggest, but still. The 4th selection, the Cavaliers are up on the clock here. I think this has to be probably the easiest selection for them. They have to select Jonathan Kuminga. Yes, they just selected Isaac Okoro last year in the 2020 draft with a top 5 selection last year, but Kevin Love is not going to be able to see much longer. As soon as his contract's up, he is gone, and it's simple. The 5th selection, pretty simple as well here. The Oklahoma City Thunder will be selecting Jalen Green. Jalen Green is a player that kind of falls here, but it just happens to be because of the draft order that has been that we came up with. But Jalen Suggs goes to OKC. The 6th selection here, this is very interesting. This is where you get out of the top 5. Trade NBA suggests that Scotty Barnes is the best available still. And I like the selection of Scotty Barnes here. I think they should go Scotty Barnes here if they do get back-to-back picks or even get the 6th selection period. I don't think that he's necessarily my 6th best player on my big board, but I do think that he would be a very, very good fit in OKC. With the 7th selection, the Orlando Magic select here. They don't get the number 1 overall pick, but yeah, they also will get the 9th pick coming up. But with the 7th selection, it's a very interesting choice for the Magic here. They have a ton of guards already with Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, and R.J. Hampton. They have a lot of guards, so you're looking more towards a forward here. I think that they probably do end up taking Jalen Johnson here. Jalen Johnson's a project, but he fits the timeline with some of these other Magic players where the Magic are in a rebuilding phase and just are starting their rebuild right now, and they already have Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, R.J. Hampton, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz. They have a very, very good young core, I think, and I think that they should select Jalen Johnson. Yes, it is a bit risky, but still, it could have some high upside as well. 8th pick, the Raptors are here. The Raptors here, I think it is a very, very easy selection. They select Davion Mitchell out of Baylor. Mitchell's going to play good defense along with scoring on offense. I kind of compare him to a player like a Donovan Mitchell. Yes, they have the same last name, but still, I think they're very comparable. Their shot looks close to the same, along with very, very good defense, which you can't really say about Donovan Mitchell. But Davion Mitchell, I think, would be a very, very good selection. Even if they do re-sign Kyle Lowry, I think he's a smart selection because I don't really see them signing him to a very, very long-term contract. I would say it would be a 1-2 year contract. With the ninth selection, the Magic are back up here. They've already selected Jalen Johnson. And what would they select here? They would look towards another forward, you would think. But I think they can't pass up on the idea of Keon Johnson, the Tennessee freshman. A 6'5" freshman. Hopefully that could play some other forward positions as well. Next, we've got the Sacramento Kings at number 10. The Kings here, very interesting. I think they would love to have Keon Johnson, who was selected with the 9th selection in this draft. But I think with the 10th selection, they would go with Moses Moody out of Arkansas. Yes, they have a lot of guards already, but I think they're looking to put him at small forward, and I think this could be a very, very smart selection here for them. The 11th selection, the Hornets select, which as a Hornets fan, very sad they missed the playoffs, but still. With the 11th selection here, this is a very interesting selection. The best players are like guards, forwards, which they don't really need much of. I think they go Kai Jones, the power forward out of Texas here. I think he could play some center. And Cody Zeller should not be re-signed this offseason. He's just not very good at all. He's very average, and I think he probably would want to go to a contender that is probably NBA Finals, maybe even ready next season. But who knows if they will give him a good contract like he may be looking for. With the 12th selection, the Spurs are up here. The Spurs are a very interesting team. They could target a guy like a Corey Kispert after losing DeMar DeRozan, presumably this offseason. That would make some sense. James Bouknight might make some sense to some people. They already selected Devin Vassell last year, which I think might be a reason why they don't go Corey Kispert here. But I think with this selection, they're probably going to go with James Bouknight, the UConn sophomore, a 6'5" shooting guard who can shoot lights out. And I think that Indiana would love to have him at 13 possibly. But with the 13th selection, who knows what Indiana does right here. I think I'm going to mock them going with Corey Kispert. But still, I don't know really what they go with here. I think they could be a team that just totally trades this pick and continues to stick to mediocrity. But I could see them also trading like Miles Turner this offseason and actually kind of rebuilding. The 14th selection, last pick of the lottery, the Golden State Warriors are up. The Warriors here are very, very interesting. The Warriors already have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson in their backcourt. But besides that, nothing's really set. I mean, I guess you could say the center position's set, but still, I don't really know that that's set. I think they would love to have Corey Kispert, who was just selected with the last pick. But I think Franz Wagner out of Michigan would be a very good selection here. He's a small forward. I could see them also trading this pick, and if they got the Minnesota pick, just packaging those two together, and James Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins to get a possible very, very good player, but they don't. The 15th selection, just outside the lottery, the Washington Wizards are selecting here. They need a center bad, and I think they will do most anything they can to get a center here. And I think they're going to go with Isaiah Jackson out of Kentucky. I think he's going to play some center for this team. Davis Bertans was not that great of a signing. Who knows what will happen with Bradley Beal after the season? I would just assume he would want to stay, but who knows? Usman Garuba has to be the pick, I think, for the Boston Celtics here. They are in desperate need of a center. They have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown at the forward positions. And, yeah, they have their point guard positions good as well. But I think that it would make a lot of sense to select Usman Garuba. With the 17th selection, the Grizzlies are on the board. And the Grizzlies here are very interesting. The Grizzlies need a shooting guard, it might suggest, with Dylan Brooks presumably really playing the small forward position and a shooting guard here. I think that they're going to take a chance on Zaire Williams. Zaire Williams is I guess you could consider low-risk, high-reward move type here. But the Grizzlies are not really in the type of place to develop him right now. They want to make the playoffs. But still, I think they could spend some time at developing him. 18th selection, the Thunder are on the board. I think this is a very interesting selection here. Thunder have already selected Green and Barnes in this mock draft. They've already kind of got their guards for the future in Gilgeous-Alexander and Green. You've got your forwards of the future in Barnes and Poku, and Baisley. But for your center, nothing's kind of set yet. Al Horford I think they're going to select Alperen Zingu, a 6'9" center out of Turkey. I think this could be an interesting selection. They would have time to develop him, similar to the Poku pick back in 2020. With the 19th selection, the New York Knicks are on the board. I think this is a very obvious pick here. I think you select Jaden Springer out of Tennessee. Jaden Springer, if you could get some scoring from this guy, you would be very, very happy. I think this could be a very, very wise selection here. The 20th selection, the Atlanta Hawks are on the board. The Hawks are an interesting team here because they could have selected Tyrese Halliburton. Instead, they selected Onyeka Okongwu. But I think that this could be between like a shooting guard type of player here. Yes, maybe something would suggest they need a center, but still, Clint Capella's got 3 more years on his contract, and he's been great defensively. I think that they should go with Cam Thomas out of LSU. He's going to be a very, very good shooter, and hopefully you can get some defense out of him as well. With the 21st selection, the Houston Rockets are up. This pick is coming from Portland, and this is very interesting here because they actually have not got a pick so far. I think their pick went to OKC, if I'm not mistaken, which has to suck for Rockets fans, taking all year and not getting anything. 21st selection, though, the Rockets are here. I think they've got to select the what I would consider the best player available. That's Ayu Dosunmu out of Illinois. The junior out of Illinois is a 6'4" shooting guard who I think could be very, very good and has a lot of upside. And the Rockets are in no rush to rush him to do anything. The Knicks are back up at 22 here. They selected Jaden Springer with their 19th overall selection. I think it's tempting just to select another point guard for some reason and Jared Butler out of Baylor. But I don't think realistically that's what they're going to do. I think here they might look for a player like a Greg Brown, the Texas freshman, a 6'9", power forward. Yes, this may seem like a little bit of a stretch, but still, I think it might be smart. I think this with the Lakers has been everywhere here. Sharif Cooper to the Lakers seems very realistic at number 23 to me. At number 24, the Rockets are here. This is a very interesting pick for the Rockets. They've already selected Ayu Dosunmu in this draft. I think they go with Jared Butler here out of Baylor. I think there's no way they don't select Jared Butler here if Jared Butler's still available. Next pick is at number 25. The LA Clippers are here. Very interesting selection for the Clippers. They would probably look for like a point guard or a center here. They also could look for some upside like with Brandon Boston Jr. or Josh Christopher in this draft. That can make some sense, but I think they go with Day'Ron Sharpe out of North Carolina. Yes, this might be a bit of a stretch. They need a center very badly, and they can stretch for a center. I think Dayshawn Nix would also be in the play here coming out of G League Ignite. That could make some sense as well because he's a very good passing point guard and is not going to score a lot, which is not really what the Clippers need, a lot of scoring right now. They already have players like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. They're good as far as scoring. A playmaker like Deshaun Nix could be very, very good under Rajon Rondo as well. He could be a great mentor. The Nuggets are here at 26. The Nuggets are very interesting. Jamal Murray will be coming back from injury, and you've still got Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. This is a very, very good team that could possibly be in the NBA Finals as soon as next season. Who would they select here? I think they might go for upside, and I think it's between Josh Christopher and Brandon Boston here for me, and I think I'm going to go with Brandon Boston Jr., the Kentucky freshman. He had a horrible season at Kentucky last year, but still goes in the first round for upside here with the Nuggets. The Nets are up here at 27. They don't really have a glaring need besides like a center or something. Greg Brown would probably be a popular selection here, but he's already gone. Charles Bassey might be a selection here, and I think that's who I'm going to go with, Charles Bassey out of Western Kentucky, the junior. I think he could play some center as soon as possibly next season, considering how bad their center position is right now. The 28th selection, the Philadelphia 76ers are up here. The Sixers might look at a point guard here like a Trey Mann for Florida. I think that would be the obvious pick here. A point guard out of Florida who's a sophomore. I think he would make some sense. The 29th pick is the Phoenix Suns. The Suns might draft their future point guard here, but they really don't have that. Josh Giddey's still on the board. I think that's probably who they go with here, Josh Giddey. He does fall a little bit in this mock draft, but it happens. The 30th selection goes to the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are in a very interesting spot here. Mike Conley is on an expiring deal this year, and they could look for a point guard here. They could also look for like some upside in like Deshaun Nix here possibly, who I think probably should be their pick, or maybe even Isaiah Todd's an interesting player too, that they could possibly play at the like power forward. I think I'm going to go with Isaiah Todd here. Isaiah Todd's going to be the selection here out of G League Ignite with the 30th overall pick. So yeah, that's the mock draft. We obviously did use Tankathon to select. So if your team fell in the draft, I'm sorry, but Tankathon did it to you, not me. So let's go ahead and review our draft here. With the first selection, the Pistons select Cade Cunningham. Second, the Timberwolves select Evan Mobley. Third, the Pelicans select Jalen Suggs. With the fourth selection, the Cavs select Jonathan Kuminga. With the fifth selection, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jalen Green. With the sixth selection, the Oklahoma City Thunder as well select Scotty Barnes. With the seventh selection, Jalen Johnson for the Orlando Magic. With the eighth pick, the Toronto Raptors select Davion Mitchell. With the ninth selection, the Orlando Magic select Keon Johnson. With the 10th selection, the Kings select Moses Moody. With the 11th selection, the Hornets select Kai Jones. With the 12th selection, the Spurs select James Bouknight. With the 13th selection, Corey Kispert. 14th, Franz Wagner out of Michigan for the Warriors. 15th, the Wizards select Isaiah Jackson. With the 16th selection, Usman Garuba for the Celtics. Zaire Williams at 17 for the Grizzlies. At number 18, we've got Alperen Sengun for Oklahoma City. At 19, we've got Jaden Springer going to the Knicks. At number 20, we've got Cam Thomas going to the Hawks. At 21, we've got Ayu Dosunmu going to the Rockets. At 22, we've got Greg Brown going to the Knicks. At 23, we've got Sharif Cooper going to the Lakers. At 24, we've got Jared Butler going to the Rockets. At 25, Day'Ron Sharpe to the Clippers. At 26, Brandon Boston Jr. to the Nuggets. At 27, Charles Bassey to Brooklyn. At number 28, we've got Trey Mann going to Philadelphia. And at number 29, we've got Josh Giddey going to the Phoenix Suns. And at number 30, we've got Isaiah Todd going to the Utah Jazz. So that is my mock draft end of season edition. If you enjoyed this video, like I said, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There might be a couple more videos about the playoffs. I don't know what next week's video is going to be. Maybe my big board. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, and peace.